Last week, my dead wife called me at 2 a.m. She's been dead for 31 years. Or so I thought. Her voice was shaking. She said, "Henry, it's me. It's Evelyn." I almost hung up. Then she said something only she would know. "The blue mug. The one you broke on our honeymoon. That mug is on my desk right now. I've used it every morning for 42 years. No one knows that story. Not even our son. 3 days earlier, I'd found her passport in the attic. Issued in 1997. For years after she was cremated. My name is Henry Castellano. I'm 75 years old. What I'm about to tell you sounds impossible, but every word is true. My wife didn't die in 1993. She was kept alive in Mexico for 31 years as an organ farm, and the person who did it was someone I see every Thanksgiving. This is how I found out. Thanksgiving morning, November 23rd, 2024. I was cleaning out the attic. 31 years of Evelyn's things. Boxes I'd never opened since 1993. Marcus was coming over for dinner that night. His wife, Diane. Their 2 kids. First Thanksgiving in 5 years we'd all be together. I found a box labeled Evelyn Personal Documents. Inside, her driver's license, social security card, wedding ring, and a passport. U.S. passport. Navy blue. Standard issue. I opened it. Name, Evelyn Marie Castellano. Date of birth, April 12, 1951. Issue date, March 18, 1997. Expiration, March 17, 2007. For years after she died, I stared at that passport for 10 minutes. My hands were shaking. I know what you're thinking. Passport fraud. Identity theft. Someone using a dead woman's information. That's what I told myself. But the photo, it was Evelyn. Same face. Same green eyes. Except her hair was different. Shorter, like someone had cut in a hurry. And her eyes looked terrified, like someone had a gun to her head. I've spent 40 years reviewing legal documents, death certificates, estate records, fraud cases. This wasn't a forgery. This was real. And I had no idea what it meant. I was about to call Marcus when my phone rang. November 24th, 2:13 a.m. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Who calls at 2 a.m. unless someone's dead? I picked up. "Henry, it's me." Woman's voice. Barely a whisper. "Who is this?" "It's Evelyn." My wife. Dead for 31 years. I was about to hang up when she said it. "The blue mug. The one you broke on our honeymoon in Vermont. You glued it back together and told me it was stronger now. That mug is sitting on my desk right now. Cracked porcelain. Uneven glue lines. I've used it every morning for 42 years. No one knows that story. Not Marcus. Not my brothers. Not anyone. Just Evelyn and me. Where are you? Tijuana. Henry, they told me you were dead. They told me Marcus died in the crash. But I saw his photo online last week. He's a doctor now. At St. Mary's Hospital. He's alive. And I'm alive. Someone lied to both of us. The line went dead. My name is Henry Castellano. I'm 75 years old. I spent 40 years as a legal consultant. Fraud cases, estate disputes, criminal defense. I've cross-examined liars, exposed forgers, caught people stealing millions. But I never thought I'd have to investigate my own family. This is the story of how I discovered my wife was buried alive for 31 years, and how the person who did it was sitting at my Thanksgiving table. 3 hours later, I was on a flight to San Diego. I didn't tell Marcus. I didn't tell anyone. Because if Evelyn was alive, someone had been lying to me since 1993. And I was about to find out who. Tijuana. November 24th, 3:17 p.m. Evelyn told me to meet her at Motel Revolution. Room 12. Cash only. No ID required. I knocked. The door opened. I didn't recognize her at first. She was thin, too thin, gray hair cut short, deep lines around her eyes. But when she smiled, I saw it. The same crooked front tooth, the same dimple on her left cheek. "Henry." Her voice cracked. I couldn't speak. I just stood there. She stepped forward, hugged me. I felt her ribs through her shirt. She weighed maybe 100 pounds. I thought you were dead. I whispered. I thought you were too. We sat on the bed. The room smelled like cigarettes and bleach. Tell me what happened, I said. She took a breath. August 16th, 1993, the day before the supposed organ donation. I woke up in a different hospital, not St. Mary's, somewhere underground, concrete walls, no windows. Where? I don't know. They kept me sedated, but a woman was there, taking care of me, crying. Who? Sophia Ortega. The name hit me like a punch. The truck driver's wife. Yes. What did she say? Evelyn looked at me. Her hands were shaking. She said her husband caused a crash, that they were paid $500,000. Paid by who? Dr. Rashid, and someone at the hospital, someone who had access to your records. Did she say a name? Evelyn nodded. Marcus. I felt my chest tighten. Marcus was 8 years old. I know. That's what I told her. But she said Marcus was in the car when it crashed. What? He was already at the hospital, waiting. I stood up, walked to the window. That's impossible. He had a broken arm. I saw it. Did you see it happen? Or did you see it after? I thought back. The hospital room. Marcus in bed, arm in a cast, crying. But I didn't see the crash. I didn't see the ambulance. I just saw the aftermath. How did you end up in Tijuana? I asked. They moved me 3 days after the crash. Van, crossed the border at night, took me to a clinic. Concrete building. No signs. No name. What did they do to you? She lifted her shirt. I counted 12 scars. Vertical line down her abdomen. 14 inches. Jagged edges. Liver, she said. 1995. They didn't use general anesthesia. Just local nerve blocks. I was awake. 2 parallel cuts on her lower back. 6 inches each. Kidneys. 1994 and 1996. Circular marks on her thighs. For on each leg, bone marrow. They did it 8 times. First time 1997. Last time 2003. Burn marks on her shoulders. Reddish brown. Faded but visible. From the restraints. I fought them every time. I couldn't speak. Sophia smuggled me antibiotics, Evelyn continued. Stole morphine from the clinic. If she hadn't, I would have died from infection in 1995. Why didn't you escape? They told me if I ran, they'd kill you. They had photos of you, of the house, of Marcus. They said they were watching. For how long? Until 2018. That's when the money stopped. Sophia was killed that year. Gunshot. They said it was gang violence. And you've been free since then? Free. She laughed. Bitter. I had no passport, no ID, no money. I've been trying to get back for 6 years. Then last month, I saw an article. Dr. Marcus Castellano opens new wing at St. Mary's. There was a photo. You were standing next to him. She showed me her phone. A screenshot. There I was. Gray hair. Older. Standing next to Marcus at some ribbon-cutting ceremony. That's when I knew they lied, she said. I need to ask you something. If this happened to you, if someone you thought was dead called you at 2 a.m., would you get on a plane? Would you believe them? Or would you think it was a scam? A trap? I didn't know the answer when I boarded that flight to Tijuana. And honestly, I still don't know if I made the right choice. Tell me in the comments. What would you have done? I flew back to Philadelphia that night. Didn't tell Marcus. Not yet. First, I needed proof. November 25th, 6:47 a.m. I called my old colleague, Grace Liu, retired FBI. I told her everything. She didn't believe me. Not at first. Henry, you're 75. You've been alone for 3 decades. Maybe you heard what you wanted to hear. Grace, she knew about the blue mug. She knew things only Evelyn would know. Silence. Give me 24 hours. Grace called me back the next evening. Her voice was different. Careful. Henry, I pulled the hospital records from 1993. St. Mary's. Evelyn Castellano. There are inconsistencies. What kind? Evelyn's organ donor registry shows the procedure was completed on August 17th, 1993. But the cremation record is dated August 16th, one day earlier. I sat down. As a legal consultant for 40 years, I've reviewed thousands of death certificates, medical timelines, chain of custody for evidence. What Grace just described wasn't a clerical error. It was impossible. You can't cremate someone before harvesting their organs. Someone with access to hospital records had falsified government documents. That's not amateur hour. That's a professional operation. What else? I asked. The registry lists 5 people who got Evelyn's organs. Grace pulled up the organ registry. It listed 5 people who got Evelyn's organs. Liver, kidneys, heart valves, corneas. But when I checked the patient IDs, something was wrong. What do you mean? Only 3 of those people were real. The other 2? Fake names. Ghost entries. What does that mean? It means someone created phantom recipients, either to cover up what happened to Evelyn or to sell her organs on the black market and keep the money. How much money? In 1993, a full harvest, liver, kidneys, heart valves, corneas, could bring in $1.5 to $2 million. Cash. Untraceable. I didn't confront Marcus. Not yet. Instead, I watched him. November 26, 7:42 a.m. I showed up at his house unannounced. Told him I wanted to have breakfast. He seemed nervous. Kept checking his phone. Dad, is everything okay? Just wanted to see my son. That a crime? He laughed. Too loud. Too quick. His wife Diane brought coffee. The kids were at school. I looked around. Nice house. 5 bedrooms. Pool in the back. Tesla in the driveway. Business must be good. I said, yeah, the transplant center's been busy. We're opening a new wing next month. Transplant center. Same hospital where Evelyn died. I asked casually, you ever work with Dr. Rashid? Indian guy. Neurologist. He was Evelyn's doctor back in '93. Marcus's coffee cup stopped halfway to his mouth. Why? Just remembered him. Wondered what happened to him. Retired. Moved to Dubai, I think. You keep in touch? No. He was lying. I've spent 40 years reading people. Marcus is my son, but right now he's also a suspect. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Marcus's reaction. The way his hands shook when I mentioned Rashid. 3:12 a.m. I got dressed. Drove to St. Mary's Hospital. I still had Marcus's spare office key. He'd given it to me years ago. In case of emergency, Dad. Disqualified. His office was dark. I used my phone's flashlight. Desk drawers. Nothing. Filing cabinets. Patient records. Billing documents. Nothing unusual. Bookshelf. Medical textbooks. Framed diplomas. I was about to leave when I noticed something. The bottom desk drawer didn't close all the way. I pulled it out completely. Reached underneath. My fingers touched something plastic. Duct tape. Holding something to the underside of the drawer. I ripped it off. A phone. Not Marcus's iPhone. This was a cheap flip phone. The kind you buy at a gas station with cash. No contract. No trace. A burner. I turned it on. Battery at 87%. Last used 3 days ago. Text messages. Dozens of them. All in Arabic. My hands started shaking. I opened the photo app on my iPhone. Started taking pictures of every message, every contact, every call log. Sent them to Grace. 3:47 a.m. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I took the burner phone. Put it in my jacket pocket. Taped the drawer back exactly how I found it. Left Marcus's office. Locked the door behind me. By the time I got to my car, my phone was ringing. Grace. Henry. Where the hell did you get these? Marcus's office. What do they say? They're communications with a Dubai number. Registered to a Dr. Karim al-Rashid. Marcus has been sending him patient information. Names. Blood types. O-negative donors. For how long? The oldest message is from June 2008. 16 years. I felt sick. There's more, Grace said. One message from 3 weeks ago. November 5th, Marcus wrote, in English, old man asking questions about 1993. Advice? What was Rashid's response? Grace was quiet for a moment. It's in Arabic. I had to run it through a translator. It says, tell him nothing. If he continues digging, handle him like we handle Rafael. Rafael Ortega, the truck driver, shot dead in Tijuana, 2018. My son had asked permission to kill me. In my years handling criminal cases, I learned one rule. Burner phones mean premeditation. This wasn't a son protecting his father. This was a criminal covering his tracks. My son had asked permission to kill me. If you're still listening, if this story is keeping you up at night like it kept me up, I need you to do something. Share this. Not for me, for the 200 other victims still out there. Someone watching this right now might have a family member who died under suspicious circumstances. Someone might need to hear this. November 27th, Thanksgiving dinner. Marcus's house. His wife Diane was in the kitchen. Their 2 kids, Emma, 12, and Jake, 9, were watching parade on TV. I waited until we were alone. Marcus was carving the turkey when I put the folder on the dining room table. Inside, Evelyn's 1997 passport. The death certificate dated 1993. Photos of Evelyn in Tijuana. Grace's FBI report. And screenshots of the Arabic text. He looked at the folder, then at me. Dad, what is this? Your mother's passport. Issued 4 years after she died. His hand stopped. Knife still in the turkey. Where did you get that? Same place I found her. Tijuana. The knife clattered onto the plate. Diane called from the kitchen. Everything okay in there? Marcus forced a smile. Yeah, just dropped the knife. He looked at me. His face had gone pale. We need to talk. Outside. We stood in his backyard. The kids were still inside watching TV. Dad, I don't know what you think you know, but she's alive, Marcus. And she told me everything. His jaw clenched. Everything about what? The crash. Dr. Rashid. The $500,000 paid to Rafael Ortega. The burner phone in your office with Arabic text asking permission to handle me like Rafael. He sat down on the patio chair, put his head in his hands. You don't understand. Then explain. He was quiet for a long time. I was 8 years old. I know how old you were. They threatened me. Said if I didn't cooperate, they'd kill you. Who's they? Dr. Rashid. He came to my school 3 days before the crash. Said he was a friend of the family. Pulled me aside during recess. What did he say? Marcus told me what happened 3 days before the crash. He was 8 years old. A man came to his school. Said he was a doctor, a friend of the family. Pulled Marcus aside during recess. Your mom is very sick, the man said. She needs special medicine, but your dad doesn't understand. The man gave Marcus pills, small white pills. Told him they were travel sickness medicine. Said mom gets dizzy on long drives, and this would help her feel better. I didn't know they were sedatives. I thought I was helping. Marcus looked at me, tears streaming down his face. I put them in mom's coffee that morning, just like he told me. Then what happened? Mom drove me toward camp, but she started feeling dizzy. Pulled over at a rest stop. That's when the truck hit. But you weren't in the car. Marcus shook his head. No. Where were you? Gas station. 2 miles back. Rashid had told me to ask mom to stop there, to use the bathroom. While she was getting gas, he pulled up in another car, told me to get in, said we were going to prepare a surprise party for you at the hospital, and you got in the car. I was 8. He was a doctor. I trusted him. I stood there, staring at my son. What happened next? He drove me to St. Mary's, took me to a stairwell, said we needed to practice being surprised when you arrived. Marcus's voice cracked. Then he pushed me. I fell down the stairs, broke my arm. To make it look real, it wasn't an accident, Dad. He planned it, made it look like I was thrown from a crash. But he told me it was my fault, that I'd slipped, and if I told anyone the truth, they'd blame me for Mom's death. He was 8 years old. He thought he was saving his mother. So he did it. He drugged his own mother. I wanted to hug him. I wanted to scream at him. I did neither. And for 31 years, you said nothing. I thought she was dead. They told me. When did you find out the truth? Marcus was quiet. Marcus, when did you find out your mother was alive? 2008. 16 years ago. And you did nothing. Rashid offered me $2 million to keep quiet. I was drowning in debt. Medical school. Divorce from my first wife. Custody battle. I was about to lose everything. So you took it? Yes. And what did you do for that $2 million? Deleted hospital records. Evelyn's file. The organ donor registry. Cremation documents. Anything from 1993 that could raise questions. When? Most of it in 2008. But Rashid called me again in January this year. Said there was a problem. A woman in Tijuana asking questions. Claiming to be Evelyn Castellano. He told me to purge everything, just in case. And you did? Yes. Did you know she was alive? Marcus was quiet. I suspected, but I told myself she couldn't be. Rashid said she died in 1999. Heart failure. I believe him because it was easier than facing the truth. I stood up. You erased your mother's existence. For money. Dad, I'm sorry. You asked Rashid for permission to kill me. His face went white. That text. I panicked. You were asking questions. I didn't know what to do. But I would never. You asked permission to handle me like Rafael. Rafael Ortega was shot dead in Tijuana in 2018. I didn't mean it like that. I was just asking what to say to you. In what world does handle him like Rafael mean anything other than murder? He broke down, sobbing. I don't know. I don't know. I've been living in hell for 16 years. Every day, waking up, knowing what I did, knowing I helped them, and I couldn't tell anyone, couldn't go to the police, because I'd lose everything. You already lost your mother. I know. I walked back into the house. Diane was setting the table. The kids were laughing at something on TV. Normal Thanksgiving. Except nothing was normal. I looked at Marcus through the window, still sitting on the patio, head in his hands. My son, a criminal, a victim, both. I picked up my phone, called Grace. I have a confession, recorded. I'd been recording the entire conversation on my phone. Marcus Castellano, Director of Transplant Services at St. Mary's Hospital, admitting to destroying medical records, admitting to taking $2 million from an organ trafficking ring, admitting to communicating with Dr. Rashid about obstructing a federal investigation. Henry, did you get his consent to record? No. Then it's not admissible in court. I know. I'm in Pennsylvania. Two-party consent state. But I don't need it for court. I need it for leverage. Grace was quiet. What do you mean? Marcus doesn't know I recorded him. And when the prosecutors hear this, even off the record, they'll know exactly what questions to ask to get him to confess officially. Fruit of the poisonous tree. Exactly. Can't use the recording itself, but it can guide the investigation. In legal terms, this is a strategy prosecutors use all the time. An inadmissible recording can still tell them where to look, what to ask, who to pressure. It's not evidence. It's a roadmap. I'll send it to you, I said. See what you can do. Grace worked with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Build a case against Dr. Rashid. Wire fraud. Human trafficking. Conspiracy to commit murder. Interpol issued a red notice. Arrested him in Dubai on December 15th. Extradited him to U.S. on December 20th. Marcus cut a deal. Testified against Rashid. Provided bank records. Patient lists. Communications. In exchange, 3 years probation. Lost his medical license. No prison time. Evelyn was brought back to the U.S. legally. Humanitarian visa. Grace pulled strings with immigration. We filed a civil lawsuit against St. Mary's Hospital. $15 million. Wrongful death, except she's not dead. Medical malpractice. Fraud. Conspiracy. The hospital settled out of court. $8.7 million. Evelyn and I are using the money to fund an organization, helping other victims of organ trafficking. There are 47 more cases we've identified. Women and men who died under suspicious circumstances, whose families never got to say goodbye. Marcus is working at a legal aid clinic now, helping immigrants. Evelyn visits him once a month. I don't. Not yet. If you take one thing from this story, remember this. First, trust your instincts. If a death seems too convenient, cremation happens too fast, no chance to view the body, ask questions, demand answers. Second, document everything. We couldn't have built this case without paper trails, death certificates, hospital records, bank transfers, text messages. In legal cases, evidence is everything. Third, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Marcus made terrible choices, but holding on to rage won't bring back 31 years. As someone who spent decades in courtrooms, I can tell you legal justice and personal healing are not the same thing. The law says Marcus obstructed a federal investigation, but the law can't tell me whether to forgive my son. That's a choice only I can make. I'm still deciding. December 24th, Christmas Eve. This morning, I was making coffee in the kitchen. Evelyn was upstairs, getting dressed. My phone rang. Unknown number. Dubai area code. I answered. Rashid's voice. Mr. Castellano. Merry Christmas. You're in federal prison. How are you calling me? Minimum security. Henry. White-collar facility. I have phone privileges. Monitored. Of course. But my lawyer is on this line. Attorney-client privilege. A second voice. American accent. David Kowalski, representing Dr. Rashid. I felt my blood run cold. Attorney-client privilege. Even the FBI can't touch those calls. I know this sounds impossible. A man accused of human trafficking, making threats from inside a federal prison. But I've handled enough criminal cases to know minimum security facilities aren't like the prisons you see on TV. If you have money and a good lawyer, you can still make things happen. And Rashid had both. What do you want? To remind you of something. Your wife goes to physical therapy every Tuesday and Thursday. 3 p.m. Mercy Hospital. Room 340. My blood went cold. Room 340. The same room where Evelyn died in 1993. If you think you can... I'm not thinking, Henry. I'm informing. The civil lawsuit against St. Mary's. The Interpol investigation into my network. The congressional hearing scheduled for March. Drop them. All of them. Or what? Or next Tuesday at 3 p.m., your wife has another accident. A fall down the stairs. A heart attack. Medical complications from 31 years of trauma. Very believable. You're bluffing. Am I? Do you remember Rafael Ortega? One phone call. Henry. He was dead in 48 hours. Do you remember Sofia Ortega? One phone call. Dead in 24 hours. You're in prison. You can't. I made those calls from prison. Henry, minimum security is quite comfortable. I have access to everything I need. He hung up. I stood there, staring at my phone. My hands were shaking. Evelyn came downstairs. Who was that? I forced a smile. Wrong number. She kissed me on the cheek. Started making breakfast. She was humming. Happy. For the first time in 31 years, she felt safe. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. A photo. Evelyn. Leaving Mercy Hospital 2 days ago. December 22nd, 3:04 p.m. Someone took this from across the street. Zoomed in. Clear shot of her face. Someone is watching. Tomorrow is Christmas. Evelyn is in the kitchen making lasagna. Humming Silent Night. She doesn't know about the phone call, the threat, the photo. I have 48 hours to decide. I called Grace 10 minutes ago. Told her to put a team at Mercy Hospital. Next Tuesday, 3 p.m., room 340. If Rashid's people are watching, let them come. They'll be walking into cameras. Witnesses, federal agents. I'm not running. And neither is Evelyn. We've been buried once. We're not going back underground. My name is Henry Castellano. I'm 75 years old. 31 years ago, someone stole my wife and turned her into an organ farm. We fought back, and we won. But Rashid's network is still out there, still operating. If you're watching this and someone you love died under suspicious circumstances, too fast, no body, strange paperwork, don't stop asking questions. Check the death certificate. Demand records. Get a lawyer, because they might still be alive, just like Evelyn. And if you're one of the people running these networks, next Tuesday, 3 p.m., room 340, we'll be waiting. I need to know what you would do if you were me. If someone threatened your family to stop your fight for justice, would you back down to keep them safe? Or would you fight and risk losing them again? Leave your answer in the comments. Because honestly, I still don't know if I'm making the right choice. Subscribe if you want to know what happens next Tuesday. Share this if you think someone needs to hear it. And if you or someone you know has experienced something like this, the resources are in the description. You're not alone. We're coming for all of them.